Hey YouTube, Peterbilt Knife Guy. If you hear fans in the background, that's because it is 105 degrees in my shed right now. It is hot. But today, we are going to be doing the side-by-side comparison that nobody asked for and everybody's gotten a bunch of times, but they haven't had my pickup, or they haven't had my ideas on it. So we're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the Becker BK9 and the ESEE Junglas. I don't care how you say it how you want. I'm gonna call it a Junglas. Starts with a J, you know. Anyways, so what we have here is two USA made large knives. Both come in 1095. Now the Becker K-bars come in something they call Crovan, which doesn't alter the steel at all. It helps in I think of the heat treating process or something like that, but the end all performance is basically the same as 1095. It doesn't alter the performance of the knife at all. It only helps in aid with the making process. So both in 1095, both rock weld about 58, 57, 58, but there are some big differences. And these are the differences that might persuade some person to buy one over the other. And let's get into that. First off, the sheaths. When you get the Becker K-bar, you get this ballistic nylon sheath. Now, everybody loves these ballistic nylon sheaths. The first two things that people ever do to these knives is they do two things. They change the freaking handle scales and they get a different sheath. Usually handle scales, then sheath. The problem is these things are just, they're not bad. They're just not good. They just make the package so much larger than it has to be. And, you know, everybody knocks on Ontario. Well, here's an Ontario sheath. Let's set that right there. They are pretty much identical in the fact that they're both nylon, they both have a plastic liner, they both have a retention strap, but the OKC version actually has this flop that goes over, where this one has an extra pouch and you can actually stick another knife in there. But watch this. With this retention, holds it in there, and then you get extra retention. So I mean, they're basically the same. It's just a crappy sheath. Honestly, I'm gonna say Ontario did it a little bit better, but man, I'd be hard pressed to believe these two things didn't come out of almost the same factory. They're pretty freaking similar, just subtle differences. But yeah, so that is the Becker sheath. It's got MOLLE backing, blah blah blah. Not a big fan of it, but it's functional. Now ESEE's on the other hand, now not all ESEE's, but the ESEE Junglas itself, and I believe the Junglas 2, both come with a Kydex sheath. Now mine, I took the backing off of it because they do come with a MOLLE back. So this thing comes on here, it bolts on to these holes right here, and it makes it to where it's MOLLE compatible and jump proof, or you know, jumpable. So if you want to jump out of a freaking airplane or a helicopter or something like that, you can tuck this around the knife and strap it in, and it is not going anywhere. If this is strapped to something, it's just never going to go anywhere. But I don't know too many people who are jumping out of airplanes with the ESEE Junglas. You never know. To each their own. I know I'm not going to be. But yeah, so you get Kydex and an optional MOLLE back with the Junglas, and you just get boring tactical with the K-bar. I'm going to go with the ESEE. Now, the reason I held off on buying this knife for so long is because in order to make this knife as good as this knife, you have to upgrade it. And it used to be worth it back in the day because, well, maybe not worth it, but if you're into upgrading your knives, you want to pick your handle scale material, colors, you want leather, you want Kydex, you want who knows what, sheath. So if you want a basic knife to build your own, these were good options because they were relatively cheap back in the day. Now, not so much. I paid $120 for this thing, and in order to upgrade it to what the Junglas comes with stock, I'm gonna pay well over the cost of the Junglas, you know, which was less than $200. It was like $195 for this, with my Carter scales, with a good sheath system. It's already there. Another thing too, you can tell there is a size difference here. So this is kind of an unfair comparison, but also, so the ESEE Junglas is about 1 inch longer, and the ESEE Junglas 2 is about 1 inch shorter than this. So this is kind of like middle of the ground. You got a 9-inch blade here, you have a 10-inch of cutting here, I believe. I think we're 10.5 overall. Or is it just 10 altogether? Nope, it's 10.5 overall. So you get a much longer, where are we at here? You're 9.25. You get much more knife out of the Junglas than you do with the K-bar. As for thicknesses, they're both identical. They're both 3/16. They both have a saber grind. The Junglas has a higher saber grind. It starts right about there, where the Becker starts somewhere about in here. The one thing I do like about the Becker so far, and I honestly, this is like, I haven't even known this for 24 hours yet, is it is milled out in here, which makes this just a little bit more blade heavy, which leans towards, you know, better for chopping. Where the Junglas, you know, it's blade heavy, but it's kind of more balanced. It's a little bit more towards where you're holding it. It's about I don't know, let's see, maybe 1 inch away from your pointer finger. This guy, let's see, yeah, you're about 1.25 inches. It's just, it's balanced decent. This thing has a heavier handle, so, but it's also got a longer blade, which, you know, makes it about the same balance. I don't know about chopping yet on these things, and that is another thing I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be testing chopping. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to like the Becker. I don't want to like it. I want it to suck. So if it ends up being awesome, well then, you know, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. Let's talk about the handles. I have extra large hands. I say it on here all the time. The handle on this freaking Becker, in my opinion, it looks huge. I thought this thing was a monstrosity compared to this. It's not. The problem with this guy is it's not the top, is it's actually a little bit narrow for me. Versus this guy, it just doesn't fill my hand as good, and it's too short this way. I can feel my fingers pushing down and squeezing together, like right there. My finger, it's being ridden up on there, and same thing here. It's just too tight. There's no room. I mean, it's all right if I just want to hold it just like this, but I like chopping and I like going back on stuff, where on this one, it's just not a problem. It's just that handle. Look how much more I have to go on this big ass handle. There's still enough for I could have a 5th finger up there and be good. I like that. I like the versatility of this. Now, a lot of people complain that neither one of these have a choil. I don't see the point in a choil in a large knife like this, because this is not the knife that, in my opinion, for my uses, and I know yours might be different, but I'm not out there bushcrafty stuffing with this, you know, getting in there and doing fine stuff. I got pocket knives for that. Now, in a survival situation, and this was my only knife, or this was my only knife, I still don't think I'd want a choil. I still think you can get in here and do it. Yeah, it might not be the most comfortable thing, but then again, what survival situation is a comfortable thing? Actually, with the Junglas, it's not sharpened right there, and you could easily just get your finger right there and do fine tasks. Where this one, it's gonna hurt a little bit more because that's kind of pointy. But, so there's that. Also, to the scales, they're just hideous. I don't care that they're plastic. I just don't like the way that they're put together. I don't like the big ass square nut over here. That these things are prone to loosening up. A lot of reviews where people go out and use them right out of the box to go smack some stuff, and they have to retighten their handle scales. So knowing that ahead of time, I already pulled it apart last night and threw some Loctite in there, because I don't plan on upgrading this knife. This was a hate purchase. It was just kind of something I wanted to check it out. I wanted to check it out versus other knives, and I'm going to test it against the Cold Steel Trailmaster. That's a 9-inch blade. Actually, it's 9.5. 9.5. Yeah, because this is 9 1/4. So this knife is a little bit taller, but this knife has a lot more heft to it. Not really. They both weigh about the same, pretty much. When it comes to handles, though, this one I have way more room. For me personally, even with big hands, these things are kind of spindly, but I still like this style. I feel like this just wants to lock you in one spot, and that's it. Maybe, I haven't used this yet to know how this is going to feel in my hands, but I kind of wish this bump right here was kind of radiused off and kind of more rounded instead of being a square. I wish that was rounded. I think for holding back and choking up, that would probably be a lot more comfortable. But yeah, so we're going to be comparing these two, some hard use tests, and see which one comes out. Now, I'm pretty sure this one's going to probably do better at most things. And then again, it's a little more expensive right out of the box, but you're getting better handle material, you're getting a better sheath system, and a better warranty. So I always say if you don't even want a knife this big, then go with the ESEE Junglas 2, because the overall, it has a 8-inch blade, but overall the knives are about the similar length. It's just the blade sits up. Let's see, let's set these up here. It's like this. You just have more handle, and the blade will come up somewhere right around here. So you lose a little bit of blade, but you're not losing knife. So I would say go with that. But a lot of people love these knives, and I feel it's my duty to check it out and see what I've been missing. And anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching.